All right, welcome back, everybody, to They Came from the Underground. My name is Jordan Clemens, as always, and I'm happy to be back. I'm sure a few of you might have been wondering what happened. Surely we did not hit that podcaster wall of like, hey, this sounds like a fun hobby, and then I get bored. Being stuck in quarantine, that seems like a good time to get things done. I, however, was just your depression gets to you when you're stuck at home under life-threatening circumstances and high anxiety because of the fact that you may be putting other lives at risk. So you know how it goes. You end up hiding from the world. But I would unfortunately, I do want to make. Well, not unfortunately, I'm making these. It's unfortunate I have to make it, but I do want to make some apologies to the next few episodes you'll be coming up here. You'll be seeing coming up, and that is because I put out. I didn't end up putting out the episodes of Amy Nichols, who you'll be seeing today. I hate to bury the lead, but I'm sure you'll see it in the title. So, I want to apologize to Amy Nichols, Haley Call, Xavier Jones, and excuse me, and Jessica Misra. So I know that's great podcast content that just happened there. Anyway, very much I'm sorry to them for holding out so much. Haley even did the podcast twice in order to get the content, and so but I promise I'm getting it out there. I actually have it this time. Is what I'm not. I'm a technical fucking loser. So when it comes to all the tech stuff, I've made many mistakes, and if I've had to do duplicate interviews with a couple people and 3 now, and all that jazz. So I'm planning on things being better. But I do have special news, which is that me and Dustin Pursley, if you're familiar with him from the Des Moines comedy scene, we both have we'll be coming out with the joint podcast called Intelligent Idiocracy, where we kind of delve into the fact that we're two Midwestern white boys who don't know a whole lot about the world and how things are, but we would actually like to, so we actually get on the right page with everything, and then at least when we virtue signal, we're making sense of, and no, but no, and just be accurate. Like it'll be comedy, but it'll be comedy, but it'll be in the intention of bringing light to a new way of life. And then we can all get to know each other a little better, know what we're all going through, and then hey, maybe there will be less riots. In no way, shape, or form will our podcast help to sway riots, but hey, maybe it'll help people be other people at least keep up with accurate information, so that way they can make at least smart decisions when they decide to when our future generations decide to overthrow their governments or not. All that jazz. But yeah, I'm excited about that. That'll be on everything. We have a couple new websites coming up in that matter. I'll have the website out for this podcast coming out soon. So obviously they came from the underground.com. And then Intelligent Idiocracy at the other one coming soon here. Me and Dustin will be releasing a preview soon on the website and then on SoundCloud and YouTube, everywhere that we can just get it out there to draw people's attention and posting about it on social media. So follow, subscribe on everything. All social media and YouTube and SoundCloud, like I previously mentioned. Once we get the websites up and running, we'll be going on to Spotify and all that jazz. And I think that's it for the intro. I don't want to go too crazy. And then another reason I ended up getting held up on the podcast creation wasn't just because of me being a lazy dick. It was because of the equipment I used. Some of it had shit out, and it was kind of important pieces. So I wasn't able to really get clear recordings of anything or use the good equipment that I had ordered. So I ordered new stuff. and it's gonna be good. Hopefully, or it'll be as good as I can make it. I'll be while we get up and ramped up again, I'll be getting out these episodes that I meant to get out sooner. A lot of them, the next 4 episodes, maybe 2 or 3, depending on, well, maybe 3 or 4, depending on how if I decide to double up on one to get them out quicker because they've been so long already. Yeah, just keep an eye out after this for when the new episodes will be released, and you listen at your leisure. But yeah, for now on, again, my name is Jordan Clemens. You can follow me at Jordan C Comedy. It's just I had to figure out something that I could fit in with that would fit with everyone's fucking what's it called, whatever it is, the character count. So then that way it's all one thing. Jordan C Comedy. They came from the underground and everything, and then Twitter's TCFTU podcast because they're the main one that doesn't have a long enough a long enough option. So yeah, follow us everywhere. And then Intelligent Idiocracy, Dustin Pursley, Pursely, I believe SELY, I believe is how you spell his last name. I forgot to write it down here, but it won't matter. It'll be clear when the time is right. All right, but thank you everybody for tuning into this one. It's good to be back. I'm happy to be back, and I'm looking forward to a lot of what we got coming up. So I hope y'all like it. I hope we can get get the attention out there, spread the word, tell your friends. I'll have stickers and other various small merches available, like merches. That could be a thing. Yeah, fuck it. And so yeah, just yeah, enjoy. Amy Nichols, a magician from the Des Moines area, works with Ben Ewan a lot. You can see her at Adventureland Park, doing a lot of her own stuff. She does a lot of cool videos online as well. Check out her Facebook page, AMY and then NICHOLS. And yeah, I feel like I'm forgetting something, but that's definitely got to be it. Thank you everybody again, and enjoy.
I was forged from iron and filled with the soul of a tyrant giant, hiding deep inside. I'm riding high, got lost the light. It's finding time to snort a line. I smoke the pine, I press rewind. Cause I'ma take them back to when tragedy's all that happened. Used to act like nothing mattered. Ruthless savage, real sporadic, snatching rabbits.
Forward, and then we'll just get going.
Okay, whenever you're ready.
Awesome. All right. Well, we're sitting in with us today on this episode of They Came From the Underground podcast. I feel like I should start saying that now so people know what this is. But then we got Amy Nichols, very awesome magician from the Des Moines area. Former assistant to Ben Ewan, correct?
Still an assistant.
Still a little bit. I got you. Yeah, right on. This is another special quarantine episode of They Came From the Underground over Zoom. So I hope everybody is staying away from strangers and not touching them either. Yeah, we'll go ahead and if there is any, for the listeners, if there is any audio lag on my end, I apologize. I was having some issues with it earlier, but we should be fine now. So getting back to what's important. Amy, I'd say very happy to have you here.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Yeah, definitely. How you holding up in quarantine?
Oh, not too bad.
Not too bad.
I'm still working. I've got some part-time work somewhere else, but as far as shows go, there's nothing happening, and I'm going a little stir crazy. I have to be honest there.
I don't blame you. Yeah, it's lucky you're still working, but I remember you saying it was something like taxes or whatever, so I can't imagine it's giving you the same kind of satisfaction the performances.
Oh, definitely not. It's a job, so I'm lucky to still be working because a lot of people are completely out of work. But our passion lies on the stage, and until I get back there, it's going to be kind of rocky roads until then.
Oh yeah, yeah, big time. And what's how long have you been doing magic now?
I've been in the magic industry for about 6 years now, and right Ben Ewan, who you mentioned earlier, is the one that actually got me introduced to it. I never really knew it was a career, and really? I've actually only been doing solo shows since last October, and then kind of got cut off here with all the quarantine stuff. But
yeah,
so just as I was starting to build up, doing a lot more shows and open mics and hitting it hard, I just got cut off. But it's been great because I get to work on my material really, really hard right now. But
Definitely.
at the same time, I'm not getting that experience of being on stage solo.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's one of the things I was talking about with comedians is that's a big issue of like trying to write out all these jokes is we don't have the stage thing go up and like say it and then see how it does and work on it from there. So
there's no way to do trial and error on it and find out what works and what doesn't.
Very true. Yeah, it's definitely a bummer in the midst of all of it. But it's like I do find myself having to snap myself back into a more realistic point because I get to that because I do get into that. It's like, man, like I can't perform and like go to all these things, but it's like at the same time, people are some people have died, and so I'm trying to not let myself get too self-centered in the process.
Well, I think we all can relate to that in some way or another.
Right,
we find ourselves, realizing what really is important in life and trying to make the best of the situation in that sense. So
yeah, exactly. Yeah. You can only do what you can. What are you doing to well, you said you've been working on your stuff. What else you been doing to stave off insanity in without performance?
I think just about like everybody else in the world right now, lots of video games.
Oops, sorry, say that again. I think you cut out a little bit.
Lots of snacks.
Right on.
I'm becoming very good friends with my couch.
What was that? Sorry, you cut out a bit.
No problem.
Ah, shit. Kind of cutting out on me. It says you got
just about everybody here. I think basically I've been lots of video games.
Hell yeah. Lots of Super Smash. Damn, it says you got low network bandwidth. Yeah, am I coming through okay?
I just tried. You weren't, but you just now did. This is the first I've heard of you for a few minutes.
Okay, cool. Yeah.
I just popped onto a different Wi-Fi string, so maybe that'll help.
It did very sudden. It did switch
from being very
glitchy. Yeah, it got a lot better just then.
Okay, let's pick up where we left off.
Yes, we were talking about what you've been doing to stave off insanity.
Well, basically, like everybody else in the world, lots of video games, lots of snacks, and I'm becoming pretty good friends with my couch.
Very nice. It's there. Everyone should have a time where they, take a little quality time to get acquainted with their couch.
Yep. Your couch is your friend right now.
Yeah, big time.
Yep. You got to get out of bed and go somewhere else. So why not be the couch?
Yeah, exactly. It's you just get up, get ready for your day, and then sit on the couch, and then at least something feels like it happened. And, yeah. That's
a pretty successful day for a lot of us right now, I think.
Big time. That's my whole day around Super Smash. So that's
Same.
Yeah. Exactly. I have and then including you and a couple other of my friends that I know have Switches that because I just recently I found out they had them, but everyone's playing Animal Crossing, so I'm like, well, I should probably just get into that then.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah,
you gotta fit into what everybody else is doing, right?
Yeah, I want to have friends when we come out of this too.
It's a way for all of us to pretend like we're outdoors, just chopping wood and going fishing and all those kind of things without actually being able to do it.
That's pretty great. That's actually a good way. That's a good way of looking at it. I hadn't thought about that.
It's a virtual outdoor world. It's great. But there's no coronavirus though, so Animal Crossing is safe. So come visit my island.
There you say. So you heard it here first, folks. The Amy Nichols Island is open and welcoming to tourism. So they'll take the traffic. That's awesome. Yeah, and that's the beauty of it. I have almost beaten the the one thing. Anyway, yeah, we won't get into that. I feel like it's
Okay.
gonna go down a boring path if I start talking about my fucking recent adventures in Super Smash Brothers.
Then we're gonna have to start up a Twitch stream of just talking about video games.
You know what? I'm down. I'm not against it.
I was gonna say right now we're on the wrong platform, but
we are. Yeah. So, but we'll get this covered, and then we'll use it as our first advertisement for it. Yeah, exactly.
There we go.
There you go. Now people will know to tune in, and then we can
sounds good.
We can discuss names and things later.
That's a good plan.
Yeah, perfect. All right. Let's move on to you. How long have you been how long have you been involved in performance? Is that something you've done your whole life, like just in slowly crept up?
That's been since I was born. Basically, I was kind of born into the industry.
Right on.
My mother owned a dance studio.
Perfect.
And so I immediately was, as I reached the age of 2 and I could walk, I was probably dancing more before I was walking, to be honest. And then both of my parents played saxophone professionally, and my mom is a band teacher. So it's just kind of been my whole life. And when I was growing up, I did, different types of plays and musicals all the time. From elementary all the way up through high school, was involved in show choir and, just about a jazz band, just about anything that was related to entertainment. I was probably doing it.
That's awesome.
And, I actually did my college internship down at Walt Disney World.
That's cool.
And then really never knew that magic was a career, and kind of got out of entertainment when I graduated, just because of the fact that dance didn't seem like a realistic career choice. My family kind of turned me away from doing entertainment full time.
Yeah.
So I went to college and, was going to settle down, did my internship. I was like, oh, this will be fun, get on to Disney and work there.
Right.
And after I left Iowa, I'm thinking, hey, I'm going to work for Disney for a really long time. It's a great company. It still kind of keeps me in, entertainment, the industry of entertaining people, but I could still have a fully, what some people would consider an adult job,
Yep.
Let alone it being at Disney.
Right. Yeah. And that's where I learned that magic was a career. Disney.
Yes. It wasn't at Disney. I was at Disney, but Ben Yulin actually contacted me from a referral on Facebook.
Oh, hell yeah.
While I was down there. And he was like, hey, someone referred your name to me. I see that you've done performance in the past. I'm looking for an assistant for a part-time summer job here in Iowa. And I was like, well, I'm a little homesick. I'll come home for the summer and then go back to Disney in the fall.
There you go.
So I come home for the summer and I work for Ben, fall in love with the art of magic, did not realize that it was even a career, didn't know it was a thing. And 6 years later, I'm still working for him. And it's now my full-time career.
that sounds like the perfect kind of snowball story of getting into this.
Yeah, and it's just, I always loved it, performing and being on stage. I love dance, all those kind of things. But now that I've found magic, those things the love that I had for what once was seems so suddenly insignificant compared to what I feel for magic.
Right.
And so I wonder if, life just kind of took me in the correct path to get me to that point,
Yeah.
I didn't start in magic, that not that long ago, really, compared to a lot of magicians who started when they were 6 years old and saw a magic show and started working on tricks, their entire life. Whereas me and, coming into it, I'm only in it for about 6 years now.
Right.
And started as an assistant. It's a whole just different perspective. And also being a female in the industry, it's just kind of this weird teeter-tottering kind of feeling of being right on the edge of professional magician and, still being that assistant character.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that is a very interesting topic that I've heard discussed with a few magicians just from stuff I've watched about that relationship of women in magic, of it being they're always the assistant, I love the assistant, and it's always it's always someone very beautiful, helps, and obviously that helps when you're trying to keep attention and that sort of thing. So it's that has its and so it has its
and I respect the history of magic and that role, and I still respect that role today. I'm not, by any means stating that the assistant actually, and as being an assistant, they do way more work than the magician does, if I'm being totally honest.
It sounds like
and they just, it's just kind of one of those thankless jobs.
Right.
really, but we
I can
do
see
it
that.
because we absolutely love it.
Definitely.
It's just kind of, it's such a weird thing to explain. It's I really do respect that lovely assistant demeanor. I
Right.
think that women should have the choice to be that if they want to be.
Right.
I'm very supportful of that. I still do it. I've done it for so long. In my opinion, it's really not demeaning, but there is a lot of talk within the community about how women that are like that are considered props, and
Right.
that they're not really a intelligent, functional human being that is actually doing a lot of the work on stage, that nobody
Yeah.
actually realizes it. They just see us as, me specifically, oh, there's just this, ditzy dumb blonde on stage
Right. Yeah.
who doesn't know, she probably never went to college, and they're, those type of things. She's illiterate. She's just, kind of the
Oof.
same. Just this, I don't even,
Yeah.
yeah, it's a really, really touchy topic for a lot of people.
Right.
And I respect both sides of it. And, I've been very, very fortunate to work with someone as kind and generous as Ben Eulin, who does allow me to, he's been my mentor, and he allows me to really push the boundaries of what I'm capable of. And he actually gives myself and the other assistants that work for him a personality on stage. He allows us to be human beings and not just props.
Yeah, it's fantastic. And
Yeah.
I have talked about it a few times, and nope, he has he has a very light spirit to him. I tell you,
He does.
he's such a cool dude. He was just like, and like, because I remember the first time I talked to him, it was like after, I think it was right after I had seen you perform for the first time, because he was there. So I
Oh,
think he
yeah.
was there being supportive, and so
Yep.
I was talking to him, and like I feel like I he was actually, he felt engaged as he was talking to me, which I was not sure was going to be the case for about
Yes.
over half of the conversation.
He's so genuine. He's so humble. He doesn't have this big ego that a lot of magicians tend to have about themselves, that, they know all
Yeah.
these secrets and they're better than you, or, they have a name that really, that everybody knows.
Right.
He doesn't let any of that ever get to him. I respect him so much.
Oh yeah.
I can't even put it into words.
Yeah.
I owe him so much, and you know what? He deserves the world and so much more. So,
Yeah. Hell yeah. And
I do my best to help give him the best show that he can possibly have.
right. Hell yeah. And it seems, and from and it seems like you guys have very good personalities that would work well together, because you both have that same spirit of like the passion. I could tell
Yeah.
from when we were all there. So that's the kind
Yep.
of thing you want coming together.
You get us talking about magic, and we'll go on forever. It
Hell
does
yeah.
not. There's no end in sight.
That's it. That's like me with
One of us
comedy.
has to either, fall asleep, or Ben will have to go to the bathroom or something, and that's the only way to end the conversation, because it'll go
Right.
on forever.
That's that. Seeing that's the thing, is like, to someone who's outside of that understanding of that kind of a conversation, like maybe won't get it, but like I totally understand. I totally have been in that conversation about whether it be like comedy or music or something, and it feels amazing to be in that conversation with somebody, and
Yeah.
like getting all this out and relating, and then like it bouncing off and being like reflected back, like that same joy. And so it's like that's incredible when you can find that kind of relationship with somebody.
Exactly.
Yeah. And
I've worked for, other magicians besides Ben, quite a few of them over the last 6
nice.
years, just because I like to fill in as an assistant.
Yeah.
I'll learn a magician's show that may not
Right.
be in the state. If they have an
Yeah.
assistant that falls ill or breaks an ankle last minute or something,
Totally.
then I'm there and available. I know their show, and I can hop in last minute, and I can travel pretty much at any direction, and it's basically the same distance.
Right on.
Because I was pretty centralized. So, but with my point being, with working with other magicians, I've found the good ones and the bad ones. I've had my share of horror stories that just they still haunt me even to this day.
What's
And
one that you can give us?
I don't usually like to talk about them publicly too much, because
All right, that's okay.
but I will touch base on one, but I will never ever shame another magician. I will never ever talk bad about another magician.
Right.
I will not throw out any names,
Totally.
no matter
Yeah, I
how
don't want to
badly
put you in that
somebody has
position either.
treated me. Yeah, no matter how badly somebody has treated me, or, a misunderstanding that may have happened, I still wish the best for them. And so regardless of any story that I may tell publicly, I am not going to name call or do any of that kind of stuff. But
right on.
I did have a situation where I got accepted to go on my very first tour with a magician. It was going to be myself and a bunch of other assistants, and it was a little bit bigger show where we got to dance and do a bunch of different larger grand illusions, and I was super excited. And so I took off on the road with them. I actually left one summer at Adventureland a few days early before the end of the season in order to do this. And with Ben's blessing, he was so excited for me as well.
Yeah.
I get out on the road, and we're having a good time. I'm learning the show. I've never worked for this magician before. They seem very, very nice. Kind of a little bit elderly couple. Their granddaughter was going on the road with me, so I felt safe.
Right.
We get out on the road, and I start to fall ill.
Oof.
I was not feeling well. I made it through. The show was about 2 hours long. I made it through 3 2-hour shows.
Damn.
Where I was like curled up in a ball in the fetal position off stage, was inside of boxes trying not to, let my guts come out of my mouth all over the inside of the box. Like,
this trick is going to go a whole other direction.
Yeah, it was absolutely miserable. I asked for 3 days straight to seek medical care and was denied for 3 days straight.
Damn.
I spent sleepless nights in in hotel rooms, just because I was so sick that I couldn't sleep. I couldn't, it was absolutely agonizing. I had this shooting pain in my back, and I was nauseous, and it was just so miserable. But I pushed through every show. I didn't miss a single show or a single trick. I worked so hard because I'd worked so hard to get this job, and this was my first tour.
Right.
It wasn't until the third day we were at a theater in another state, and one of the theater workers came up to me after the show and said, "You don't look good. Are you okay?" And I didn't even have it in me to lie through my teeth. I just said, "I'm not okay. This is what's happening to me." He goes, and this is a really small town, so there's not a well-known medical center nearby or anything. But he goes, "My wife is a nurse at an emergency care facility down the road." He's like, "Please let me take you." And I just had to be like, I probably need to go. I said, "But I can't, I'm under employment with these people, and they will not allow me to seek medical care."
Jesus.
So he had to go and talk to them and tell them, "Hey, this girl needs help." They allowed this random stranger to take me in his car that, we've never met this guy before. He seemed very, very nice, but they allowed him, you'd think that they would have been like, "Oh yeah, let one of us come with you," or, "We'll take her," or, "Thank you for your help." No, they just let this random stranger drive me to the hospital. He left, he took me there. I was there overnight. I did not get a single text, phone call, visit, or anything from my employers, other than the next morning I was told to make sure to have my luggage out of the hotel room by 11 a.m.
Wow.
And I'm at a hospital with no car, and I haven't been discharged. And while I was there, they put me on fluids and all this kind of stuff. They assumed that because of my situation and the fact that I have a prior anxiety disorder that is well managed, that I was just overworked and was upset because I was away from home. It wasn't until after I got back home to Iowa that I was seen by my primary care physician, and we discovered that I had a severe kidney infection.
Fuck, really?
Yes, so that is what actually happened, is I had a severe kidney infection, and but we didn't know this on the road. I was at a random hospital center that didn't know me. I wasn't a patient there. They treated me the best that they could. And so they discharged me, but I had to sign papers stating that I would go straight back to Iowa and see, a doctor here, here back at home. That was the only way that they would discharge me, because they hadn't had a chance to run any tests or do anything.
Right.
So they call my employers and have my employers come and pick me up. And we get back on the road, and the show that was supposed to happen the next day in another state got canceled. And so they were going to head back to their home and regroup the show and take some time, take the day to kind of downsized because we did have 2 vehicles and I wanted to move it into one and
Right.
continue on with it after that. So it's not like we had a destination to go to or anything that was like we had to be there at a certain time. You know, that wasn't the case. And we're on the road, and I started to feel sick again. And so I asked if we could pull off to the nearest rest station. We do that. It's a truck stop. It was the closest thing that we found. We pull off. I'm in the bathroom. When I come out of the bathroom, they had unloaded all of my luggage, and the magician came up to me. Everybody else was already in the van. Came up to me and kind of gave me a side hug and goes, "Okay, good luck."
Seriously?
They left me at a truck stop, sicker than a dog, at about 8 p.m. on the side of the interstate. There's no town. It's just a truck stop. And they just leave me unattended there with my bags. The truck stop had like a downstairs area that had like a bar in it for the truckers.
Yeah.
It was still empty at this point, and I'm so sick that like I'm like almost delirious. Like I can barely walk. Like I'm so sick I can hardly stand up. And I make it down the stairs where there's this little like seating area. There's like some couches and a TV, and it was next to the bar. I make it down there, and I text who was already in on the whole story. I texted Ben, and I said, I've been abandoned. I sent him my location from my phone, because with the GPS, it's so easy to just send it.
Yeah.
And I
handy.
passed out on the couch. Oof. Down there in this bar, this trucker bar.
That's so sketchy.
At 8 p.m.
Oh God.
Luckily, there's so many things that could have happened, and I'm so thankful that they didn't. Somebody must have been looking out for me somewhere.
Right.
But these ladies that were working upstairs, they had seen me go down. One of them came down to check on me because all the truckers were starting to come in to end their night,
Right,
and they were going to be coming down there. And there's this young girl that they had no idea what the story was. And so she comes down and she kind of like gently wakes me, and bless her heart, she like carried all my bags back upstairs, and they had some like construction going on back behind the gas station.
Yeah.
And it was like hotel rooms for the truckers, but they weren't finished rooms yet.
Right.
They had not finished building them. She got me into one of those rooms, got the door locked so that I could wait there until Ben came to pick me up. Ben had started driving the minute he got my text. He drove 6 hours in the middle of the night to come pick me up on the side of the road.
You were 6 hours out.
6 hours, yes.
Damn.
Yep.
Fuck, those are some pieces of shit, I tell you what.
Like I said, I'm not going to talk bad about anybody. They have their lives. I have mine. I'm still going to respect them.
Oh,
but it was a very bad situation for me.
You have every clearance to not have any respect for them at all. It is such bullshit that they would.
Yeah, that is probably the worst story of all of them. And ever after that, I was terrified to travel for the longest time. I didn't trust a lot of people. For good reason, obviously. But
pretty bad example the first time.
And from what I've heard, they tell people the story differently. So, if they hear this, whatever.
Yeah, fuck them. If they do hear it, they
I'm just,
they can't do anything.
Yeah, it's in the past. I've moved on and I've become a better person because of the situations that I've been in. Right. I actually, at one point, when we were driving back, after I'd been in the hospital, I was alone in the other vehicle with the wife of the magician, and she made a comment to me. She goes, so now that you can't pursue, magic, what are your plans for your life?
What?
And I was so taken back by that comment, because I'm laying there like keeled over in the passenger seat already. Right. And she has the nerve to say this to me after denying me medical care for 3 days. I kept trying to go to her thinking, like maybe a more motherly figure is a better person to ask than the magician that's working with me on stage.
Right.
No. And she made sure to say things behind closed doors where no one else heard, so there's no record or proof of it. And I just, that right there just pushed me so much harder, because I'm like, you know what? Just because, I fell ill and, this didn't work out, this wasn't, this magician assistant relationship didn't work, that doesn't mean that I'm going to go and, change my entire life. I'm still going to pursue magic. This isn't a reason to stop me.
That was just a vindictive, jealous, petty,
It really
horrible
was.
hole
And
of a person.
yeah, and I've heard stories from other assistants that have worked with them in the past. You know,
Pretty
they go
consistent?
through assistants faster than any magician I've ever seen. You know, most magicians, they find an assistant or two that they kind of stick with throughout their
Right.
career, unless there's some reason that, you know, the assistant retires or, you know, the magician's only doing shows. But these people, they, you know, in the past 3 years, I think they've probably been through 9 to 12 assistants.
Wow.
And they have four assistants in their show at any given time for the most part, you know, with
That's
the
a lot.
exception of, yeah.
Seems like
I
a
mean,
lot.
they do a bigger show. They have a stationary
Oh, okay.
location. Yeah. So, yeah, let's move on to something a little bit more cheery than talking bad about people, because that's just not me.
No, I get you. That's an intense story, though. But at the same time, that's the kind of thing that, you know,
Yeah,
like if
well,
you're like really pushing it, that's
yeah, and
you know.
every entertainer has that horror story.
Right.
They all do. I
Yeah.
guarantee it. Almost every one of them, and all of us, at some point or another, have run into people that we just don't work well with.
Yep. Very true.
It happens, and so you learn to really value the people that value you back. And, you know, Ben is one of those people. There's a magician. I'll shout out a couple names here. There's a magician down in Kansas City. His name is Lance Rich, and I worked for him. And
I said Casey. I just yelled KCMO. I love Kansas City.
Yeah. I was actually originally born in Missouri, so, you know, Kansas City is like my home away from
That's
home.
dope. Okay,
so
you're
it was
originally
awesome
from
when
up there.
yeah, so it was awesome when I got to work for him and get to go back to Kansas for a while. So I worked with him back in January, right before all this COVID stuff happened.
Nice.
And him and his partner were absolutely wonderful to me. They were, you know, hospitable and sweet and so much fun to work with on stage. And same thing with Ben. He was wonderful. I worked for a magician up in Lake Geneva. That was a really enjoyable time. Got to learn a lot about the business side of things when I was up there.
Excellent. Yeah.
Yeah. So there's a lot of good ones out there, but mixed in with them are always those bad few. And you just gotta. They're all learning experiences, and some are just better than others.
Right. Yeah. Every line has got their sour apples in the bunch, whatever it might be.
That is for sure.
Yeah, you hear about a lot of comedians sleeping in cars, and that's just really one of the better places they can get at their low. So that's you know, yeah, it's definitely one of those things you have to be sort of prepared for. Obviously, it's nothing you plan for. It's definitely the unexpected, but yeah, it's as long as you're able to get yourself through it, there's you'll be able to do anything. So yeah, that's
anybody that's listening to this that may be going through one of those situations themselves, you know, don't let it totally destroy you.
Exactly. Yeah,
don't let it be the reason that you stop pursuing your passion, because the situation that you're in now is not the situation you're going to be in a week from now, a month from now. You know, it's going to get better. You're going to learn from it. You're going to realize, you know, what you have to watch for, what you want to do to make your life what you want it to be. And the people that don't support you in the process, you don't need them.
Exactly.
And that's the best advice that I can give. And don't be afraid to not need people.
Yes, that's very key, because
you may think that you may think you need every single connection you ever get. You don't.
You really don't.
You know, connections are great. Don't ever burn bridges. I don't ever recommend burning bridges, but know who is in your court and who genuinely supports you.
Mm-hmm.
And the people that don't, just keep them at a nice, safe 6-foot distance so that you don't get the coronavirus.
Exactly. You need to.
And we've gone full circle.
But that's what professional interviewing gets you to, is a full circle.
Yes,
I don't leave any corners unattended. But I 100% agree with you, because it's really, at the end of the day, it's not particularly that anybody really attracts toxic people. There are toxic people that will come in and out of your life, but it's up to you to like recognize it and then just get out, because because they're not going to just leave. Like, the more toxic a person is, the less of the reality of who they are is present to them. So they're not sure, they're not really aware of how they're toxic. So it's just the only way. You're not 99.9999%, you're not going to fix anybody. You're not
Exactly.
going to fix anyone. It's just like if they have to want to change.
Yes.
And it's most likely you telling them that they need to change is just going to make them go, fuck you, I'm fine the way I am.
Yep.
Which, as we've already established, is probably them being
a
really
lot of them
bad.
are not very open-minded, and they're
Yeah.
not going to see any sort of reason. They're going to be thinking with their emotions.
Yep.
They won't be thinking with logic.
Nope. Very impulsive people. It's a very
Yep.
impulsive behavior, and it's sometimes that's just turns into being someone being a risk taker, but other times it turns into someone who might rob you and leave you for dead. So there's a whole
Precisely.
array. There's a whole array. So yeah, but I believe, and then because it does feel like we came to a satisfactory kind of wrap up here, and because Zoom only does allow 40 minutes of recording time at a time without buying it,
Yep.
we could probably wrap it up here, and then obviously we can do it again anytime we want to. Anytime we're stuck in the house and have nothing to do. So I definitely welcome you back on anytime you'd like.
That sounds good.
I had a lot of fun here. This was I think it was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Actually, I did have one thing I want to ask your quick opinion about, because I remember thinking about it earlier when we were talking about women magic. I heard a fun theory that maybe, well, it's probably not fun, but it's interesting. A theory that because of obviously we know of the Salem witch trials and things, there is a theory I heard that maybe women have a much harder time getting in to be like the magician because of there being like this inlaying history of like women being witches, which actually another theory of them thinking that is that they were getting basically drinking a hallucinogenic mushroom DNA in their water every day. So
that is an interesting theory, and that is actually one I have not heard yet.
Really?
I'm not gonna lie. That is not one that I have even has not crossed my mind. But I can definitely see where it would be one.
Right.
And I'm definitely planning to research that now that you've said that, to kind of look into that. Maybe it'll spark some ideas for a new showpiece. I have no idea.
Right, yeah.
I'm sure there's probably women out there that are using that to their advantage.
I would
if
hope
there
so.
aren't, I hope there are.
Yeah.
I hope that there's somebody out there that's got a witch-themed character for their magic show, because that sounds fantastic.
It really does.
So I think the next thing I'm doing tonight with my quarantine time is getting on YouTube and researching that, because that sounds fantastic.
Hell yeah.
I'm a huge fan of Halloween, and
me too.
So witches are right up my alley. If it could be Halloween all year long, I would be the happiest girl on the planet.
That is my favorite time. That is one of my favorite times of year, is like fall.
It is
not
literally
because of
it's literally the best
because
holiday.
of build up to Halloween. Yeah, I love the build up to Halloween.
The best holiday. It's so great.
Yeah, I agree with you 100%.
There's no presents. It's not selfish. There's not religion involved with it. There's nothing. It's not something that you're required to get together with your family for.
Yeah.
It's just a holiday about having fun and spooky, and I love it.
Yeah. And yeah, exactly. And then it's fantastic. And then it's so easy to just not participate. All you have to do is do nothing and keep your porch light off on the Halloween. So
and decorate, because Halloween decorations are fab.
Exactly. Yes, my favorite. That's the best.
Yes.
I've always been a little goth kid inside, and so
oh yes, and you get to let out your inner goth, and it's okay.
Exactly. Everyone accepts
it because everyone else is doing it too.
Everyone else is living the little goth life while they have the chance.
Exactly.
Yes. Well,
and everyone has that little person inside them.
Yes, I think we should all be more. I think we should all be more willing to be one with that person.
Yes, I agree.
But thank you so much, Amy, for being on. I had a great time.
Of course, I did too.
Awesome. I'm glad to hear it. Yeah, that's actually the most important part.
It is.
I do want to have you back on. So,
yeah, definitely.
Awesome. Yeah, thank you. But yeah, again, thank you. Thank you, everybody, for listening. I hope you enjoyed it. Amy, where can they find you online?
If you search Amy Nichols Magic on any platform, you'll find me. I'm always there.
Awesome. So that's AMY and then NICHOLS. I almost forgot the S. Amy Nichols.
And then Magic, and that's it. You can always search that, and you'll find me.
Perfect. All right. Well, we'll call it to an end right there. And yeah, I hope you have a good rest of your night. And yeah, like
Thanks
we
for
were
having
saying
me.
earlier, thank you for being here, and don't touch anybody.
Don't touch people.
No,
Don't touch them.
exactly. Keep your hands off each other, people. That goes out
No
to
touchy.
you. That goes out to you, Grandma. Okay. All right, bye,
Don't touch
everybody.
That wasn't thunder, bitch, that was me speaking. It's safe to say I found my place, and nowadays my life is great. Sub the love after the hate, I'm booked to shows in different states. One thing I don't test is fake, cause that's some shit you can't escape. Got a lot up on my plate and learned that most these streets are fake. Now I'ma go get it, I'm vivid and intricate, killing shit, feeling is militant. Know that they feeling it, been on my grill and shit, I'm just too diligent, I'ma go in again. Don't fuck with a nuisance, I'm stupid, nah please don't do it. I'm sipping on this fluid, it's vodka, hen and some sewage. I'm brutal, I cause contusions, I'm doomed and my dreams are lucid. Consumed by the fear of losing, my moons are just illusions, let's go! I dabble in the dark, just don't want me to spark it. Magician needs assistance to witness to all this carnage. Bar after bar, I'm by far the hardest. Scar, son of Mars, the god of words, a tyrant, yeah, bitch.